This is Unit 19 of Pimsleur's Arabic 2.
اسمع المحادثة.
You'll hear
مواجه
in front of and
شارع العابد.
Abid Street.
عفواً، تعرف وين في تليفون من فضلك؟
ايه هنيك مواجه المطعم.
وين ممكن اشتري جريدة؟
شارع العابد مو بعيد، روحي على اليمين وبعدين دغري.
شكراً جزيلاً.
اسمع مرة تانية.
عفواً، تعرف وين في تليفون من فضلك؟
ايه هنيك مواجه المطعم.
وين ممكن اشتري جريدة؟
شارع العابد مو بعيد، روحي على اليمين وبعدين دغري.
شكراً جزيلاً.
Now an acquaintance is visiting you. Talking about her daughter, she says she has an interesting job.
عندها شغل ظريف.
She and her husband are traveling to New York next week.
هي وجوزها مسافرين لنيويورك الجمعة الجاية.
You tell her you used to travel to New York for work. Say, when I worked for Madar.
وقت اشتغلت مع مدار.
She asks, where are you working now?
وين بتشتغل هلأ؟
Tell her, I'm working for 9-4 now.
بشتغل مع 9-4 هلأ.
قول
My job was interesting before.
شغلي كان ظريف قبل.
When I worked for Madar.
وقت اشتغلت مع مدار.
Say to her, and you're working for the American University.
وبتشتغلي مع الجامعة الأمريكية؟
She says, yes, I like my job a lot now.
ايه، بحب شغلي كتير هلأ.
But before, I too worked for Madar.
بس قبل أنا كمان اشتغلت مع مدار.
Now I'm working for the American University in Beirut.
هلأ بشتغل مع الجامعة الأمريكية ببيروت.
Now she asks you, where are your children?
وين ولادك؟
جاوب
My son is traveling to Tartus on Friday.
ابني مسافر لطرطوس الجمعة.
How does she ask you how old your son is?
قديش عمر ابنك؟
Tell her he's 20 years old.
عمره 20 سنة.
Referring to her daughter, how did she say she has an interesting job?
عندها شغل ظريف.
Now referring to your son, try to say he has a very interesting job.
عنده شغل ظريف كتير. عنده.
Tell her again that he's 20 years old.
عمره 20 سنة.
And he has an interesting job.
وعنده شغل ظريف.
She asks you, how old is your daughter now?
قديش عمر بنتك هلأ؟
My daughter, she's 16 years old.
بنتي عمرها 16 سنة.
Your friend needs a telephone. How does she ask if she can call?
ممكن اتصل؟
جاوب.
Of course, the telephone is over there.
طبعا تليفون هنيك.
Here's how she says, "Thank you very much."
اسمع أعيد.
شكرا جزيلا. جزيلا. شكرا جزيلا.
How do you ask her, "Do you have the phone number?"
عندك رقم التليفون؟
She searches her pockets. She says, "I had the number before."
كان عندي الرقم قبل.
She tries to dial the number but isn't successful. She says, "The number was wrong."
كان الرقم غلط.
I will call to information.
حاتصل بالاستعلامات.
Here's how she says, "I will try."
اسمع أعيد.
ححاول. حاول. ححاول.
How does she say that she will try to call later?
ححاول اتصل بعدين.
Here's again, or one more time.
اسمع أعيد.
مرة تانية. تانية. مرة.
How do you say again?
مرة تانية.
How would she say that she will try again?
ححاول مرة تانية.
She says that before the number was wrong.
قبل الرقم غلط.
She says she will try again later.
ححاول مرة تانية بعدين.
How does she say that she has to call information?
لازم اتصل بالاستعلامات.
At the end of her call, she says to the operator, "Thank you very much."
شكرا جزيلا.
She tells you, "This is the phone number."
هذا رقم التليفون.
Later, she says, "This time the number is right." First, this time.
اسمع أعيد.
هالمرة. مرة. هالمرة.
Here's how to say, "The number is right."
اسمع أعيد.
الرقم صح. صح. الرقم صح.
Literally, you say, "The number correct." Try to say, "This time the number is right."
هالمرة الرقم صح.
What's the word for wrong?
غلط.
She says, "Before the number was wrong." Literally, before it was the number wrong.
قبل كان الرقم غلط.
She says, "The number is right this time."
الرقم صح هالمرة. صح.
She says she will try again.
ححاول مرة تانية. مرة تانية.
She says again, this time the number is right.
هالمرة الرقم صح.
Now imagine you're an American woman speaking with a new acquaintance at a conference in Beirut. How does he ask you where you're working?
وين بتشتغلي؟
Tell him you work for the American University.
بشتغل مع الجامعة الأمريكية.
How do you ask him where he's working now?
وين بتشتغل هلأ؟
He tells you, I work for Madar.
بشتغل مع مدار.
He adds, my job is very interesting.
شغلي ظريف كتير.
Ask him if he has children.
عندك ولاد؟
He tells you, yes, I have a boy and a girl.
إيه عندي ولد وبنت.
Ask him, are your children here with you?
ولادك هون معك؟ ولادك هون؟
He answers, no, we're traveling without our children.
لا مسافرين بلا أولادنا.
It's very expensive to travel now.
غالي كتير السفر هلأ.
Now ask him, how old is your son?
قديش عمر ابنك؟
Do you remember how to say 3 years?
3 سنين.
With the numbers 3 through 10, you use the plural word for years. Now try to answer, my son, he's 10 years old.
ابني عمره 10 سنين. سنين.
Say again, 10 years old.
10 سنين.
Now he says, my daughter, she's 20 years old.
بنتي عمرها 20 سنة.
She's at the university.
اسمع أعيد.
هي بالجامعة. جامعة. الجامعة. بالجامعة.
He says again, my son, he's 10 years old.
ابني عمره 10 سنين.
And my daughter is at Damascus University.
اسمع أعيد.
وبنتي بجامعة دمشق. دمشق. بجامعة دمشق. بنتي بجامعة دمشق. قول.
Really?
عن جد؟
Referring to a man, say, my friend also was at Damascus University.
رفيقي كمان كان بجامعة دمشق.
Do you remember how to say, this letter is for him?
هالرسالة إله.
Now try to say, before I used to work with him.
قبل اشتغلت معه. معه. اشتغلت معه.
When I worked for Madar.
وقت اشتغلت مع مدار.
How did your friend say that his son is 10 years old?
ابني عمره 10 سنين.
You need to use the telephone. Ask him, where is there a telephone?
وين في تليفون؟
Your acquaintance says, I think there's a phone over there.
بظن في تليفون هنيك.
You see it. Say, yes, thank you very much.
إيه، شكراً جزيلاً.
Add, I have a phone number for my daughter. 4 is understood.
عندي رقم تليفون بنتي.
But the number was wrong.
بس كان الرقم غلط.
It wasn't the right number.
ما كان الرقم صح. الرقم صح.
He says, I can call to information.
ممكن اتصل بالاستعلامات.
Tell him you will try again now.
ححاول مرة تانية هلأ.
Tell him, I had a number, but the number was wrong.
كان عندي رقم بس كان الرقم غلط.
And I need to call today.
ولازم اتصل اليوم.
She has an interesting job in New York.
عندها شغل ظريف بنيويورك.
But now the conference is starting, so you tell him you will try again later.
ححاول مرة تانية بعدين.
After the conference, you need to go to the post office. Here's the post office.
اسمع أعيد.
البريد. بريد. البريد.
Say that you need to go to the post office.
لازم روح على البريد. على البريد.
سأل.
Do you know where the post office is?
بتعرف وين البريد؟ بتعرف وين البريد؟
Post office is masculine. He answers, of course, it's over there.
طبعاً هو هنيك. هو هنيك.
Here is how he asks you, do you see it?
اسمع أعيد.
شايفتي؟ فتي؟ شايفتي؟
How did he ask you, do you see it?
شايفتي؟
He says, the post office is not far from here.
البريد مو بعيد من هون.
He says, it's over there.
هو هنيك. هو هنيك.
Do you remember how to say to a woman, go to the right?
روحي على اليمين. روحي على اليمين.
Now he says, the post office is on the right.
البريد على اليمين. على اليمين.
He asks you again, do you see it? It's on the right.
شايفتيه؟ هو على اليمين. شايفتيه؟
Now here's how you answer, yes, I see it.
اسمع أعيد.
إيه شايفته. شايفته.
He asks you again, do you see it?
شايفتيه؟ شايفتيه؟
How does a woman say, yes, I see it?
إيه شايفته. شايفته.
قول.
It's over there on the right.
هو هنيك على اليمين.
هلأ قول.
This time I see it.
هالمرة شايفته. شايفته.
You have a letter to mail. Referring to a man, say, this letter is for a friend of mine.
هالرسالة لرفيقي. هالرسالة لرفيقي.
قول.
Before, I used to work with him.
قبل اشتغلت معه. اشتغلت معه.
هلأ قول.
I have to go to the post office.
لازم روح على البريد.
Say again, I used to work with him.
اشتغلت معه.
Still referring to the post office, he asks you again, now do you see it?
هلأ شايفتيه؟
جاوب.
Yes, thank you. This time I see it.
إيه شكراً. هالمرة شايفته.
It's another day, and again you're looking for a post office. You stop someone on the street saying, pardon me, sir.
عفواً يا أخ.
Ask where the post office is.
وين البريد؟ وين البريد؟
Do you remember how to say, to the left?
عالشمال. عالشمال.
Referring to the post office, he says, it's over there on the left.
هو هنيك عالشمال. عالشمال.
He points to the post office and asks, do you see it?
شايفتيه؟
قول.
Yes, I see it, thank you.
إيه شايفته شكراً. شايفته.
Now you're in a cafe with a friend. Ask how old his son is now.
قديش عمر ابنك هلأ؟
He answers, he's 20 years old.
عمره 20 سنة.
He has a very interesting job.
عنده شغل ظريف كتير.
He lives in Tartus.
ساكن بطرطوس.
Referring to his son and a friend, how does your friend say, they're traveling to Canada in January?
مسافرين لكندا بكانون تاني.
قول
But in January, the weather's very cold in Canada.
بس بكانون تاني الطقس بارد كتير بكندا.
He laughs and says, yes, but he likes Canada a lot.
إيه بس بيحب كندا كتير.
Now say, my husband and I are traveling to England.
أنا وجوزي مسافرين لإنجلترا.
Our children aren't traveling with us.
أولادنا مو مسافرين معنا.
جاوب
Not this time.
مو هالمرة. مو هالمرة.
Our son prefers to stay at home.
ابننا بفضل يبقى بالبيت.
He has an interesting job now.
عنده شغل ظريف هلأ.
Our daughter's at Damascus University.
بنتنا بجامعة دمشق. دمشق.
Our children are not going to England this time.
ولادنا مو رايحين لإنجلترا هالمرة.
Now say that you have to call.
لازم اتصل. اتصل.
My daughter is at the university today.
بنتي بالجامعة اليوم.
We will have lunch together.
حنتغدى سوا.
قول
I have the phone number.
عندي رقم التليفون.
When you return, your friend asks, was the number right?
كان الرقم صح؟ كان الرقم صح؟
جاوب
No, the number was wrong.
لا، كان الرقم غلط.
قول
I have the phone number at home.
عندي رقم التليفون بالبيت.
It wasn't the right number.
ما كان الرقم صح. الرقم صح.
Say that you will try again.
ححاول مرة تانية.
I have to call information.
لازم اتصل بالاستعلامات.
I will try again later.
ححاول مرة تانية بعدين.
Now a passerby is showing you the way to the post office. How does he ask you? Do you see it?
شايفتي؟ شايفتي؟
How do you say, yes, I see it? Remember, you're speaking as a woman.
ايه شايفته. شايفته.
قول
It's over there on the right.
هو هنيك على اليمين.
This time I see it.
هالمرة شايفته. شايفته.
This is the end of Unit 19 and the end of today's lesson. Pimsleur courses work best when done consecutively and on a daily basis. For best results, please continue with the next unit.